Hello, welcome to SS Last Minute Revision for all you last minute students who like to do things last minute. But anyway, I'm here to explain the essay, how you write a good essay. Now, there's two parts of the essay. First part is in your opinion question, and the second part is the factors, two factors question comparison. So how do you do any type of essay? First, I'm going to teach you these steps. It's called Excel, E-X-C-E-L. First thing you do, always elaborate your factor. By definition, that means that you must define what your factor means. This is very, very, very important. Okay, if you are stuck and you don't know what to write, make sure you have all the factors in your brain. So you must memorize all these definitions of your factors. Second thing, give one example of the factor that you have mentioned. It's quite straightforward. C, component of your factor that relates to the issue. Okay, when you list your factor, it must be something relatable to the issue that you're talking about. So don't just blabber on and tell me a grandfather story about your factor. Make sure you focus on aspects of the factor that relate to the issue that you're trying to answer. Okay, then explain how the various measures can help your factor to resolve the issue. The key thing is resolution. Your factor must resolve the issue. Then after that, followed by linking. So Excel. Let me give an example. So this is the 7-mark question. Explain 2 ways to help minimize tension between Singapore and foreign talent. So what is the issue here? The issue you're exploring is how do you minimize tensions between Singaporeans and foreign talents. Okay, keep this in mind when you're answering the question. So they're asking you to come up of your own 2 ways to do this. Okay, so you can either write your own points for this or you can follow the textbook and give the textbook answer. It's up to you, as long as you can explain this part for question part A. For part B, you must give textbook factors and you must list down the textbook factors. Okay, part A is optional, but of course it's good to follow the textbook. So how do I write it? One way the government can minimize tension is to introduce naturalization initiatives. So this here is my factor. Okay, next thing, I need to elaborate on my factor by giving a definition. That will be my second part. So this can better help through understanding and minimize conflict. Okay, this is not really on the elaborate part, but this is more towards the component, how your component relates to the issue, but for this case I've put it here. Okay, again, next thing, what is the example of this factor? Okay, one such program is the citizenship journey. So here, clear example of what I'm talking about, citizenship journey. Next part, I give some more examples of this. I explain it more in detail. What is this? This is a 3-part blah 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 2-month course where they go on this and this of the tour. Okay, now going back to the issue, we are talking about minimizing tensions, correct? So how do I do my C part? How do I make sure that I list down the key parts of my factor that relate to the issue? What do they do? I can't just say that they go through this journey and all this, but so what if they go through all these things? So this, I'm doing my C part now. So what do they do? Through this, they can have the experience of living in Singapore. Okay, this is what they do. They explore key historical, cultural, and relational experiences, and of course, this can help to minimize tensions. So this is my next part. Can't find a good color. Okay, how about blue? Pink. Okay, and lastly, explain how the factor relates to your issue. So through this, we can develop attachment, belonging, and build understanding. And with this understanding, we can thus prevent conflict and tensions from arising. So this is the last part. So can you see here how the essay flows? Okay, I need the factor. I need the factor by definition. Better integrate foreign talent with understanding of cultural practices. I need the example of the factor, naturalization program, 3-part program between NICPA and ICA. Of course, you must list this down in the exam. Okay, then I need a key component of the factor, which is this: foreign talent can explore key historical, cultural, and relational experience. This is the part that helps you minimize tension. So then you explain how it minimizes tension. Through this, foreign talent develop a sense of attachment and belonging to the nation to build understanding. Okay, so that is a key paragraph. Let's look at the second paragraph. Another way, minimize tension. Okay, factor, community support is my factor. Okay, then I will list down example. I'll elaborate my factor by definition. What exactly is community support? These are measures such as grassroots organized events and activities or the NIC fund. Okay, then example, one such measure is this: community integration fund, and then I write what is it about. Support blah 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 ground initiatives. Okay, so I'll make this blue to show you I've listed my example of my factor. Then next, I need the key component that relates back to the issue, okay, which is my next part. So it's my purple part. Again, the issue is minimizing tension, so I need something that can help you understand more about Singapore culture. So yes, these organizations support integration by helping the immigrants to focus on these things. Okay, so this is my component, key component of my factor, how it links back to integration. And finally, I will explain. Thus, this results greater understanding and relatability, because after they go through the course, they will know our way of life, and hence greater understanding and relatability, and thus in turn it will minimize tensions through understanding. Okay, so this is the last part. So can you see the flow of my essay? Again, if the marker can see a clear logical flow, not things that are rushed, not things that are jump, but a clear logical flow, then you should be okay. Okay, let's go to the next part. How do we do the... Let's go to one of the questions about the factors. Okay, do you agree? Let me see. Okay, how about this one? Do you agree that prejudices and misconceptions pose a greater challenge than competition for resources in keeping people united? Which is the more challenging factor in uniting people of Singapore today? So what is the key factor that you're looking for here? Is keeping the people of Singapore united. I mean, this is your issue, keeping the people of Singapore united. Okay, so what are the two factors that they want you to list now? Be very mindful. Prejudice and misconception is one. The second thing, competition for resources. So now you know that you need to link this factor to this issue, keeping people united. Okay, so if you're stuck, always define the factor first. Define and elaborate the E of the Excel. Okay, so prejudices are formed when negative sentiments arise, when they jump to a conclusion and make incorrect judgments due to lack of understanding and erroneous assumptions. Okay, this will be my E part. I'm elaborating on my factor by giving a definition. Okay, so again, this affects Singapore's unity as behavior towards certain groups of people can cause unnecessary hurt and deepen prejudice of a different race and religion. Okay, here I'm actually putting the component part first before the example. Okay, it's up to you whether you want to put the example first or you want to put the key component of the example first. So I put the key component first. How exactly does this, what are the types of prejudice and how is it linked to keeping people united? Okay, because it creates discriminatory behavior, it creates unnecessary hurt, it deepens prejudice against a particular race and religion. Okay, then I give my example, which is here. One such example is an incident from China. So in your textbook there are few examples. So I choose to use this one where the China person calls Singaporeans as dogs. So I list down this example, okay? Then when you explain, you just need to link this. How does this eventually lead to increased in tensions? Because we are multi-religious, multi-ethnic, we will be vulnerable to such behavior, which can cause rift and negative impressions that Singaporeans are xenophobic. Okay, hence this will affect the unity of people in Singapore. Unity between who is between the Singaporeans and the foreigners. Okay, so it's very clear. Can you see the clear-cut flow of my essay? Next, competition for resources also affects the people in Singapore today. Okay, factor listed down. Then next, elaborate by definition what is this competition for resources. These are usually in the form of economic opportunities, employment, housing, transportation, among others. Okay, then I elaborate some more. Because of this, they fear that foreigners are taking our jobs. People would rather hire foreign workers than pay money for local workers. Okay, in a sense, this is my example as well. When I talk about competition for resources, so I just elaborate on this factor. With the influx of foreigners, competition for resources increase. Singapore are fearful that foreigners are taking odd jobs away. There are some who believe employers would rather hire foreign workers than pay more. Okay, the second part is that the inflow of permit holders also seen as a reason for wages to remain low for Singaporeans. So in a sense, I'm going deeply dwelling into what competition for resources actually encompasses. So number one, it encompasses infrastructure and economic opportunities. Number two, what are they? They are employment, housing, transportation, among others. Yes, employment, housing, and transportation, among others. Okay, what is the impact of this? Impact of this causation is that with increased competition, Singaporeans will begin to be fearful. Foreigners are taking jobs away. Employers would rather hire foreign workers. Lead to the impression that employers would rather hire foreign workers. Lead to a lower pay earned. Okay? So with more workers, thus there's a reason to decrease the pay. Hence, what is the result? So in my explanation, okay, as a result, Singaporeans have frustrated resentment, unpleasantness towards immigrants. Okay, if you have two groups of people who are unhappy with one another, that is when you will cause disunity. Okay, so this is my example for my second one. Second factor, explain. Okay, now I need to talk a little bit about yes, let's talk a little bit about this, about how you do your final part of your essay. Now there are 4 ways you can do this. So the first way you can do this is, wait, let me get my cursor. Okay, 4 ways to assess the factors, the importance. Okay, just a quick revision. So the first way, of course, long term and short term, means that you weigh the factors, which one has a longer term impact, which one has a shorter term impact, so that's how you can know which is more important than the other. Second way, looking at perspectives, depending on who you are, where you're coming from, who you're looking at, that determine your perspective, that determine which of the factor is more important. The third way, sphere of influence. One factor may affect only a certain group of people, while another factor affects a larger portion of society. So then that factor will be the one that is more important. Okay, and lastly, root cause, which is the one that started it all. Without this, the other factor wouldn't happen. So look out for which is the root cause. Okay, so for this question, where I'm looking at prejudice and misconception, which one is the root cause of this? Okay, I would say that first and foremost, Singaporeans already do not like foreigners, and competition for resources further adds on to this unhappiness and confirms their prejudice, confirms their misconception. So I would say that prejudice and misconception pose a greater challenge than competition for resources. Oops. Yes, prejudice and misconception. Okay? Because this is a better root cause. It can cause stereotypes and discriminatory behavior regardless of the competition. Okay? Some people, they don't even care about the competition. They just don't like the face of foreigners. So thus, this competition is a subset. It will only reinforce the prejudice that many factors include upbringing, influence, and others. Hence, of course, discriminatory behavior, prejudice is a greater harm to the unity and the country towards progress. So in this case, I'm looking at the root cause. For me, the root cause is more towards prejudice. That is when people are going to be upset over the competition for resources, if you know what I mean. Okay? So this is the first part of the video. You can continue to look at the essays that I've listed down and I've uploaded onto the Google Classroom. So use this as a guide. Don't use this as a definitive example, but more of a guide on how you can write your essay. Thank you.